So Donald Trump's global and tariff trade war continues, and the markets are opening up soft this week. I want to go over what's going on, what's being said, and let's just jump right in. So these are the headlines today. Stock market today, Dow Jones futures fall after Trump's EU-Mexico tariff threats. And then you got Bitcoin at 120,000 for one coin. And every time I see this thing, I'm just like, man, these markets are stupid. However, not everyone necessarily agrees with me. And here's another point of view. How about this?
Yeah, I mean, Trump's not stupid. His counterparts in the EU are not stupid. The Canadian Carney guy's not stupid. Everybody has to figure this out. They understand it's not the same old ball game as it was. This administration is trying to balance stuff. All that makes rational sense, and the markets figured that out. And the thing that's keeping the S&P where it is right now is off on the sidelines. It's called AI. The productivity of what AI can bring to earnings in every country on earth, but the leaders right now in developing this are companies like NVIDIA. Look at NVIDIA's stock, all-time high, over 4 trillion. That's what's fueling the other 11 sectors of the economy. So we've got crypto on our side for reducing friction costs on finance. We got AI to reduce all the costs in just everything you do in every business, in every sector, you're going to get some benefit. And you've got NVIDIA making the chips that everybody has to work with. I mean, I know it sounds volatile, but the underpinnings are extremely positive. And that's why the market can take the hits of the erratic trade negotiations when they've got AI on the other side and they've got crypto on the other side. There's a lot of...
Okay, guys, so I guess that's the answer, AI and crypto. And I'm starting with this because I mention all the time on the channel. It's pretty crazy when you watch any kind of financial stuff. That's literally the stuff that they're pushing, and it's insane, right? Because think of it this way. What is Trump promising you effectively when he, gets in office? He's like, hey guys, you're all going to be rich and you're all going to get your factory jobs back. And as we talked about in a prior video, what are these factory jobs? Well, we're going to be building AI factories and AI plants. So, okay, so what are these things? Well, they're basically going to make things more productive. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, that means basically we're replacing humans. You're not going to have a job. And then you're like, okay, so what am I going to do? Well, we've got crypto. Do you guys see how like none of it makes sense? And this is why I'm really cautious about what the markets are doing these days. They push this stuff every day, AI, crypto, and they're just like, what? And then this is what earnings are going to be this week. The banks will come out and say, are we making money? Are we not making money? This is the sort of estimates, or you could say preview. Investment banking set to extend worst run in over a decade. What the heck? So what's driving this? Well, as it turns out, it's actually trading. So effectively, the Wall Street's like all about crypto, AI. They're about managing people's money going into crypto and AI. It's just a big Ponzi at this stage. It's really, really volatile. You're talking about people on margins, so basically people borrowing money to buy said cryptos or AIs or whatever. It's just like what kind of Musk does. And then you'll borrow more money based on, hey, look at my crypto went up, let me borrow more. And then you just keep putting more money into the bubble. I mean, I don't think this is going to end well. That's just my opinion on this stuff.
We have to wait and see. And there's actually two layers of wait and see now. It's not just wait and see what the tariff will be, but it's wait and see what that will be feed through into the impact as well in terms of hard data. So I think the tariff story is something that's going to continue to be really, really dominant for many, many months, but it's not easy. I think the short term, this is going to be a bit of a negative for stocks. I think the move in the dollar higher will probably fade by later on in the week because I think it's going to go back to a sell America trade. Because what it's really emphasizing in the long term is the idea is that the rest of the nations have to slowly start moving, slowly is a key word there, their supply chains away from America and start aggregating to have other businesses that don't incorporate America.
Mark, do you think that this Sell America trade could come back if we see increased pressure from the Trump administration on Powell? We've seen that fact that he's opened up almost a new front against Powell, really eyeing these the renovation.
So what's going on now, right, is Wall Street's like, okay, I think we're doing the Sell America trade, right? We know that Trump is like basically messing everything up. He's breaking trust with other countries, companies, countries, etc. Try to figure out ways to move their business away from America. So that's what we're talking about. You're seeing a weakening dollar, and then you see Trump attacking Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. And I've told you guys before, chances are it'll be Hassett or Bessent will be the next Fed chair. And and then you check in on what Trump is saying, and he's like talking about weird stuff about Putin and things. Have watched this.
The announcement sanctions on Russia tomorrow. We're going to see what we will see tomorrow, okay? We have the Secretary General, as you know, Europe has announced sanctions. But I am very disappointed with President Putin. And I thought he was somebody that meant what he said, and he'll talk so beautifully, and then he'll bomb people at night. We don't like that. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
What are we talking about? He talks so beautifully, then he bomb people at night. Like I don't trust him anymore. I thought I could trust Putin. I mean, it's like, and oftentimes when Trump gives us stuff, it's like you're talking about himself. So let me put this all together for you again, okay? So right now, you're dealing with the volatility of Trump. And effectively, why would people invest in the USA in the first place is because you expect accountability, you expect transparency, you know, American companies are strong, the economy is strong, et cetera. Like you expect the USA to be a safe place to keep your money. Trump comes into power and it's clearly not, you know, the place that we want it to be. I mean, you guys can see he's like changes his mind all the time. They're talking about changing the rules and you know, multitude of things. You're rife with all sorts of corruption on Wall Street, this kind of stuff, and then you see the stuff that they're pushing, which is the AI and crypto, and then you see, oh, okay, they're not making money on you know, more traditional mergers, acquisitions, investment banking. They're making money on convincing people to trade all of this volatile stuff, and so that's why I warn you guys all the time on these kind of things. If you're, you know, looking, you know, like, hey, where should I put all my money or whatever? I always tell you the same stuff. You got to diversify here. I'd be really, really careful about throwing your stuff into bubble assets. Now, yes, it's true. I'm being honest with you. Yes, it's true. You can make money on trades, but understand that it can go up in a hurry and it can go down in a hurry. And a lot of people get it, can get really, really blown up essentially. Effectively if they get in late. And this is sort of what we're seeing right now is like towards the end of the game to where people are telling you that it's the beginning of the game, but no, it's not. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like, you know, let's say you go to a baseball game, it's 9 innings, right? And someone outside in front of the stadium is, you know, trying to sell you tickets for like, you know, 10 times what they're worth and lying to you that, oh, you know, it's the first inning and I got you great seats or whatever. And you buy the tickets, you get in the stadium and it's like, you know, ninth inning. And you're just like, huh, why did I overpay for these tickets? And I only see about 10 minutes of the game. So in my opinion, that's sort of where we're at. And I think sort of the Trump and all the people around him are sort of accelerating that. EU plans to engage more with other nations hit by US tariffs. So basically Trump is sort of, you know, fighting with other countries, and then the countries that the USA is fighting with, they're banding together, which isn't too surprising. And this particular thing, I'll read a little bit. It says the EU is preparing to step up its engagement with other countries hit by Donald Trump's tariffs, right? So we're talking about new trading blocks. In this particular article, it mentions Canada specifically, also Japan. So EU, Canada, Japan. I'm sure Korea could get some things in there also. I mean, it's nothing surprising. We talked about this stuff before, but you're seeing it. These are the USA's trading partners, all the people that, or I should say countries that Trump is attacking. So the EU's in there, Canada, Mexico, China, and UK. You could argue that the UK is a more positive relationship with the USA, but it's kind of interesting though, is that the UK has a USA has a trade surplus to the UK, at least according to this chart. But the other ones are saying deficit, but don't necessarily think deficit's bad. I always want to emphasize that stuff. And also, oftentimes these numbers don't include necessarily services, which is a big part of this stuff. On top of that, you got this. Everyone keeps mentioning this, and I just want to reiterate it for those who don't know. Oftentimes, you know, people think that the world can't function without America, because remember, America is isolating itself. But Americans, right, United States citizens only make up about 4% of the world's population. So I'm pretty sure the 96%, the rest of the world are going to do okay without the USA. Will there be a change? Yes, it'll be different than what, things have been in the past. But, with someone like Trump, it's just impossible to do business there. And I think one of the big things that people are going to see, we're going to find out this summer, is the big hit to tourism. I think that's going to be a big one to watch. And this is sort of why I like to have conversations with you guys about what's going on in the economy, politics, et cetera. It's all interrelated. But yeah, tourism, I think, is going to be a big one.
Well, I know the 90 deals in 90 days, but none of those really matter. The only deal that matters is China. That's the deal, because these are the two largest economies. There's so many issues.
So it's pretty funny because they asked him, like, so what advice would you have to, give to Trump to make a deal? Because you're a deal maker, and it's like really a softball interview. And he's like, wow, the 90 deals, 90 days, that doesn't matter anymore. And then now all that matters now is China, and he doesn't really give any advice. So that's what it is. And, what they're trying to do effectively, though, is find someone to blame. That's what it ended up being. So I don't know if they're going to blame China here. Already, Trump, though, is attacking Federal Chair Jerome Powell. You'll see him ramp up the attacks, but I think that's where they're targeting at the moment for sort of blame the markets. But I'm just telling you guys, Trump promised you jobs, right? Trump promised you all these factory jobs will come back, and I went through the whole rigmarole of crypto and AI, but that's the kind of crap they're talking about. And this is sort of why you actually need to look under the hood when a used car salesman, which is Trump and all their minions, that they're all used car salesmen. Look under the hood, check the tires, or these kind of stuff. And when you look under the hood and you see it's all AI and crypto, you realize this is a scam. So this is the stuff that they're doing to attack Federal Chair Jerome Powell. Have a listen to this.
I think if Jerome Powell stepped down, it would be a great thing. I don't know that he's going to, but he should. Jerome Powell's been very bad for our country. We should have the lowest interest rate on earth, and we don't. He just refuses to do it, and yet he's spending $2.5 billion rebuilding the Fed, the Federal Reserve building. And I don't know what he knows about building, but you talk about cost overrun. So he got this approved, and he started to work during the Biden administration.
So you can see they're going to start ramping up attacks on Fed Chair Powell. I mentioned to you guys last week that they are rumored that this is going to be the attacks, and it looks like they're going to do this daily. They're really going to try to create some sort of scandal. And then Trump's point of view, what they're going to do is remove Fed Chair Powell, get their person in, and just start printing out of money. And then I'm sure there'll be Trump coins after that. I mean, there already are Trump coins, but I mean, I get more Trump coins and Melania cryptos. And I'm sure Eric will have a crypto and Donnie Jr. will have a crypto. And this is the question I pose to you, even, for you crypto fans out there, because there are many on the internet, because it's like this whole world right now is a big Ponzi scheme. So how does this adoption in USA of mass crypto, how does that get us all jobs? How does that put food on our table? Please tell me. How does that solve homelessness? That's a serious question. Because that's what they're trying to sell you is AI and crypto, and none of it makes sense. It doesn't. Because again, these things are designed to replace you with your jobs, and crypto, you could argue, is designed to replace, currency, replace the dollar. So is that what we want to do? Is all monopoly money?
When history looks back on this time in our country, when history looks back on you, how would you like to be remembered?
A good person, but a person that saved our country. I really believed our country was going down for the fall. I don't know if it ever could have come back. It was very close to the edge. And I really would like to be known as the man that saved
Every time
our
I see these things, I'm just like, he's always talking about himself, It's a way for him to talk about himself. Well, the country's going down and maybe it could come back, right? Before he was talking about Great Depression, then he blames Powell. And, the thing that if you have manga people in your life, and I know it can be really frustrating talking to people, what do they want? What's going on with these guys? Who in the right mind would think that Trump is sane, and who in the right mind would think anyone on Wall Street is sane? But sort of the way that they justify, they'll say, well, people on Wall Street are really, really rich. And if these really, really rich people tell me that AI and crypto is the future, then, oh my God, it must be right. And Bitcoin keeps going up. Do you guys see how this is a bubble? And I know because it'll sound strange to some viewers, because if you go to so many YouTube channels, they're the same as Wall Street. They're just telling you how Bitcoin is the future and it's all going to be awesome. But again, I just pose a basic question to you is what happens? How does that get you a job? Bitcoin? How are we all going to build a bunch of data centers and then we all sit around and mine crypto together, and that's going to be our whole economy? I guess we're not going to worry about food anymore, and we're not going to worry about transportation. We're just going to all mine Bitcoin. I mean, is that our economy is being based on? And according to the Trump and everyone, it is. It's crazy.
Coming over the weekend, and you talk about a lot of young people. 6 months in, what do they think of the job Trump is doing?
Well, they're very supportive of President Trump, and honestly, they need the help. One of the reasons why President Trump won the White House is younger voters put him in the White House. President Donald Trump was unafraid to go on social media, and he dominated on TikTok. He was unafraid to go on podcasts. And the younger generation, one of the main reasons they supported President Trump, they want to be able to own homes, they want to have kids, they want to get married, they want their slice of the American dream. I think President Trump is going to deliver for them with the one big beautiful bill, with deregulation, with lower energy costs, with tax cuts. So they're very much they're very much behind President.
And so this is the answer that they're giving, and I want you guys to break it down, okay? So Kirk is arguing that deregulation is going to get everything that everybody wants, okay? So what does it mean to deregulate stuff? So, from a regulation standpoint, we don't want companies, in my opinion, having monopolies, right? So I don't necessarily want only one grocery store. I don't want Albertsons to merge with, Ralph's or whatever, right? There was the big grocery store merger. There was discussion, or I don't want all the phone companies, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, all become one company, right? I don't want that. So deregulation would lead more to that, or something like, say, deregulation to be, hey, we can poison your air and dirty your water. Trust me, guys, that's what companies will do. And much of the country will turn into something like a Texas with, pollution everywhere. If you guys ever been to, say, Galveston or any of these kind of places, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you live in Texas, you'll know this is a serious thing. Or if you talk about, the people in Flint, Michigan. Deregulation would also be like, hey, we're going to unleash the banks so they can just loan out money to whoever they want. Or deregulation would be like, hey, if they want to discriminate against certain employees or don't give loans to certain people because of your address, that kind of stuff. Like, there's a reason why you have rules. You want regulations to protect you from people like Elon Musk, who wants to get you a bunch of products that are unsafe. But according to, Wall Street and according to the Trump people, deregulate everything, right? And that'll be awesome because then we can make more profits. So I hope you guys understand what this whole game is all about. It's about pushing profits over people. And they say, oh, yes, all these tax cuts, you're going to get everything you want. But for the average person, you're not going to get that much. And I've showed you guys the numbers before. I'll give you a basic gist of it. If you make over a couple 100,000, 500,000, et cetera, right? If you on the upper end of the income scale, you're going to get the bulk of the tax cuts. If you're under a couple 100,000, you're not going to get that much. And that's the truth on that stuff. So whenever they tell you, oh yes, tax cuts are going to be awesome, it's not going to be that great. You're better off if we invested in education, right? Invested in healthcare, invested in transportation, because just talking dollars and cents with you guys, if I were to for example, cut your medical insurance, and we deregulate the insurance industry so they can just cut off whoever they want whenever they want. If I cut off your medical insurance and you had to pay for everything out of pocket, I mean, that would cost way more than any kind of tax cut that they could promise you. So this is the kind of stuff to where when it's all a smoke and mirrors game, and it's frustrating me because I think some of these Republicans, they're smart enough to know what they're doing is lying. Other ones, they're frankly true believers, but there's just not smart enough and they get fooled. I don't know how to put it. And then, Trump will then gaslight you and start blaming, Jerome Powell or Democrats or whatever. But when you see like the whole thing played out, and that's why I try to show it to you guys every day, you realize it's all a big scam. So, please be careful out there. And again, my opinion, diversify your money. Don't get caught up too much in these bubbles because it'll end, and it'll end quickly. There's no way any of this stuff is sustainable. So if you want specifics, pay off your debts, right? You can put some money in CDs. You can put some money in bonds if you want. You can hold cash, which is totally fine. If you want to go stocks, go index investing. That's the safest way to do it. But throwing all your money in these bubble assets, yes, you can make money in the short term, and people do. I'm being honest with you. But oftentimes you get greedy and you don't know when to get out. And for me, when I see all this stuff put together, I just don't see it ending well. So that's my thoughts on this. Thank you for your time, and I'll catch you in the next video.